Welcome to the Post Sports Chat. I'm Drew Rubenstein here with Justin Jackson, and the WVU men's basketball team's getting ready to host 11th ranked Oklahoma State, and WVU sits atop the Big 12 standings with a couple other teams at 2-0. That said, what has this team done that last year's team didn't?
Well, I mean, early on, they really haven't done anything that last year's team hasn't done. I mean, the two teams that they've defeated are at the bottom of the Big 12 standings, and really this game against Oklahoma State is really kind of going to be their first game against competition that's ranked above them, or maybe not in the standings, but obviously Oklahoma State's ranked 11th in the country, and this will be West Virginia's first real test in the conference to see where they stand athletically and where they stand against some of the better teams. But if you take an overall look, an encompassing look at the season so far, this team, win-loss wise, really hasn't done anything differently than last year's teams. They've beaten the teams that they were supposed to beat, and they've lost to teams that they probably should have lost to. The Virginia Tech game probably is maybe the one question mark in that scenario, but there's not much difference.
That said, I think most fans would agree that this team looks better. It's more enjoyable to watch. They seem to be a better team. They seem to be doing things that last year's team never did. They did win 2 on the road this season, which WVU didn't before. You mentioned the competition, obviously keeping that in mind. But still, did that do anything for WVU confidence-wise, opening up the way that they did in Big 12 play?
Yeah, I think, talking to the players in the interviews, the players, they feel more confident. They feel that they can compete against an Oklahoma State team, which, they probably said the same things last year, but you know how that went last year. I think this team is more capable, more athletically ready to compete against the Big 12 teams than last year's team. Just from like what you were mentioning, the style of play is different. They are a different team this year. Just the results have been the same, but they are a different team. They are playing a different style of play. They're more perimeter oriented. They weren't last year, and they're shooting the ball better from the perimeter this year. And as the freshmen start to grow and get better in the post, this team will continue to grow into a Big 12 team. I think they're a little bit more better prepared to play in the conference this year than they were last year.
That's how. Let's look at Saturday's game, Oklahoma State. Obviously, the Cowboys start with Marcus Smart. May not be a better player in the country. What does he do so well? It seems like he does everything well, and how's WVU going to try to guard him?
Well, the thing with, and I was talking with Jawan State about it, the thing with Marcus is he's such a physical point guard. He's 6'4", he's 220 pounds. He's not some skinny little fast point guard out there that can dribble. He'll post people up. He can rebound. He's a very physical player. But then again, he's also a very gifted ball handler. He has the ability to dribble and penetrate like a skinny little point guard, but he also has the ability to defend a power forward, which is kind of what the NBA scouts really like about him, is that he can play a number of, or defend a number of different positions, and that he is a physical player. He's improved his outside shot. It starts with Marcus Smart, but they have some other capable players. Markel Brown is just a slasher and can drive to the basket anytime he wants to. Brian Nash is kind of a similar kind of player, but he's improved his three-point shooting over the years. He's becoming more capable inside-outside guy. Michael Cobbins was a big inside threat for him. He's got the knee injury, but Phil Forte comes off the bench, and he brings 12 points and scored 26 against West Virginia last year. So even with Cobbins out, they're not really hurting offensively. But it starts with Smart, but they have other players around them that are also very talented.
Still a line from Bob Huggins, neither one of us are a Dr. Phil. Yeah. That said, it's been a long time since WVU's beaten a top 25 team, won what fans would say is a big game. Yeah. This team, it seems like, is in need of getting over the hump, beating somebody that maybe the most folks would think that they couldn't. Do they feel that sense of pressure, or I don't know, what's the mindset of this team when it's still looking for that marquee win that it hasn't really had in 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 14 games over I think going on 3 years now since they've beaten a top 25 teams. It's a 14-game losing streak against top 25 teams. I'm not even sure if everyone on the team even realizes that. It's not something that they talk about or bring up a lot. they realize that there will be other opportunities against top 25 teams if they don't defeat Oklahoma State. I mean, obviously there's another game against Oklahoma State remaining in the season, but you also have opportunities against Baylor, against Iowa State, against Kansas, obviously, coming up later in the year. So there'll be other opportunities. So I don't think they're throwing all eggs into this one basket. They understand that it is a big game. They expect the students and the fans to show up and show lots of support and kind of feed off of that. And if they play well, I mean, they're certainly, they're going to give it their best effort. They don't like losing against top 25 teams. They hated to lose to Wisconsin. They didn't like losing to Gonzaga, especially, the way they lost to Gonzaga in the last minutes. But eventually, streaks are made to end eventually. Now, will it happen against Oklahoma State? I mean, we'll see, but I mean, it'll end eventually.
Mm-hmm. Last one for you, just kind of looking at the Big 12 as a whole. I know Oklahoma State has a loss already in conference, but is this the best team in the Big 12 in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I think so right now. 1 through 5, and like maybe if you look at every team's 7-man rotation, Oklahoma State probably has a little bit of everything. Size, they have shooting, they have guys who can come off the bench and produce, and then they have a guy who can run it all with Marcus Smart. And Kansas has that too, but they're all freshmen and they're all underclassmen. Oklahoma has a little bit of experience. Brian Nash is a junior. Markel Brown has been around. This is a Smart second year. Fulford-Pate is also a sophomore. So they have the experience to go along with the size and the shooting. Iowa State has really come on well and it has some experience and has some size and some guard play as well. But I would still give the nod to Oklahoma State just because they kind of went through the experience last year of being one of the favorites and played well with the target on their back. So I would say that Oklahoma State's probably right now the most talented team overall in the Big 12.
All right. Saturday's game should be a fun one. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Justin. And please continue to check theedpost.com for the latest on the WVU men's basketball team. Thanks for watching again.